Welcome back. I am just Shawnee, and today we're going to be watching TikTok scary stories. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, commenting, subscribing, and liking. Just keep it up. It really helps the channel. Now we're just going to go in. We're just going to go in.
I live in Oregon, and a friend of mine was having her bachelorette party at a cabin in the woods at the base of a very well-known mountain. I was looking forward to going. A lot of people I care about were going to be on that trip, and I thought it sounded like a really fun weekend just to get away and be in nature. And the first thing that happened when I left my house and I was just on the outskirts of town, I got such a strong feeling to turn around and grab some cleansing tools like sage, Palo Santo, whatever I had on hand. And it was so strong, I turned the car around, went home. My husband's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I don't know. I just had to use the bathroom and I don't want to use the gas station." Totally fed him a line because I didn't want him to get worried. It was a really pleasant drive up there, a couple of hours. You're at least in the forest for, I'd say, 45 to 50 minutes before you find this house. This house. As soon as I pull up into the garage, I immediately just have this overwhelmingly heavy feeling that I really can't explain. Two other people had arrived. They were there taking care of a lot of the organizational details, and I walked in and my two friends are standing in the kitchen here and here. These are pictures of the property. And I walk in and automatically, just with my sensitivities, I am like, there is something up there that is funky and I don't like it and I don't want to go near it. I feel like I am being stared at and it is highly dark, highly uncomfortable. And so my two friends in the kitchen are like, "Hey Meg, how's it going? We're glad you're here." I'm like, "Yeah, how are you guys doing?" They're like, "We're great." And I'm like, "Yeah. Other than the thing that's up those stairs that's been staring at you the whole time." And they were like, "Oh my God, we were waiting for you to get here because we just had such a weird feeling and we're freaked out and we wanted to know what you thought," because they know I've got like sensitivities or whatever. I walked up the stairs and I got to about this spot right here and I stopped because I literally felt like an energetic wall, like, do not go any further. My friend said, "That's really weird. That's literally as far as we went to before you got here." And we were, they were just checking out the house and they went up into that weird little loft attic area and they were like, "Nope, no further." This is the top of the stairs right here. And if you look way down in this loft area, there's a little door with a crawl space and it was shut when we got there. As people started arriving, we were having fun joking, and one of the women went up there and we were talking about how creepy it was, and she said, "Was the door open when you guys went up there?" The crawl space door had been opened and none of us had been up there. So that night we're just kind of settling into the house, settling into the weekend, trying to figure out what's on the agenda, trying to have a good time. But if you're sensitive, you can just tell from these pictures, the place just had a creepy vibe. Those two same friends are sleeping in this room, and I am sleeping down here, downstairs, alone on a pull-out couch. First thing we notice is the incredible amount of dead insects all over the floor and even in the sheets. That night, one of my friends had her electronics go crazy at 3 a.m. I felt such a heavy layer of darkness. The first night I tried to go to sleep downstairs here on that pull-out couch, I felt like things were staring at me, circling me. I was this close to getting up and leaving in the middle of the night with a 2-hour drive home, rolling in at 5 a.m. with my husband like, "What are you doing?" But I got this very clear message: you need to stay and you need to help hold up some kind of energetic barrier. I had a dream when I eventually fell asleep that the entire property was surrounded by fire and the fire couldn't penetrate this weird line that we were all trying to hold. So I was like, fine, okay, I guess I will stay in this freaky ass house. The next morning, we're all hanging out on the balcony and talking, having breakfast, having coffee, and people start to share their experiences. People were touched. People staying in the upstairs bedroom in the bunk beds had water dripped onto their faces, coming out of nowhere. And there were no leaks in the ceiling. It wasn't raining that weekend. Later that day, when most of the crew was playing yard games, like down here in the grass, one of the women was hanging out over here, and there was a deck of cards that literally got blown, and the cards were like flung into her face. I have no idea how that happened. At this point, I am getting so drained physically and feeling so sick, I need to go lie down. I'm alone in the house again, but I'm watching everybody from outside these windows where I'm at. Gosh, I can't point. And at this point, I'm just praying. Like, I'm here for a reason. These are people that I really care about and love, and I do not want to leave them here because I feel like I can be more helpful trying to hold off whatever this thing is. I did eventually run out to the corner store to test and make sure that the physical symptoms I was experiencing were really tied to the house and not just something going on with me. And as soon as I left the house, I felt so much better, but I had to come back. People were having personality changes while at the house. Like, they would start to withdraw, go take a shower, try and like snap out of it because they just felt something come over them. What I was picking up on primarily that kind of like lived in that upstairs loft area was something that was not nor had ever been human. This sounds really crazy because I've had run-ins with some really, really dark, start with a D word kind of entities. This wasn't even that. It almost felt like not from here, if you catch my drift. But it was, what I saw in my mind's eye was almost like a spidery looking thing. And it's interesting because another woman who was there told me that they saw that a spidery looking image of this big nasty thing like crawl from up in this main area down the stairs into the loft area where we were sleeping. And what's odd is that the safe places in the house would change depending on the time of day. It's like the rooms would just start to feel off. Another person said they were almost picking up on the presence of a man, like an older man. I wasn't picking up on a person, dead or alive, definitely a thing. The second night, one of my friends and I were just so uncomfortable about the idea of going to sleep that we just stayed up kind of deliriously talking to each other until, God, it must have been close to 4 a.m. just to not be asleep and unconscious in that environment. What's so weird and actually kind of miraculous if you think about it is that the bride was not affected. She was the only one out of all of us who had no idea what was going on because she was in her soon-to-be-wed splendor. And also, this particular person has an incredible amount of spiritual protection around her. So we were all really grateful for that, and we'd kind of like whisper about what happened to you last night and this happened to me in the bathroom earlier, and we were all just kind of keeping it out of the realm of awareness of the bride, fortunately. By the last morning, I'll never forget, one of my friends had set up a beautiful create-your-own crepe kind of buffet line, and we were all sitting down around at breakfast, trying to eat and just feeling so uncomfortable, ready to get the heck out of there. Someone said, "So you picking up on anything, Megan?" And it's interesting because at that moment, I felt just this overwhelming cloud, almost like darkness from every angle just starting to swoop in, and I said, I think it's time to go. The way everybody collectively pushed back from this table and popped up and got up and grabbed their stuff and started hauling ass out of there, it was like a scene in a movie. Other guests had weird experiences. I checked the book, paused to read. If anybody knows who this was, I would love to talk to you about your experience. This one's a little weird. I think some dude had a freaky experience and then leaned into the weirdness and hopefully just exaggerated because they didn't know what to make of it. We all stood outside of that house and we held hands in a circle, and I kind of led everybody through a grounding and protective and clearing exercise because it was so vile. The husband-to-be was actually having his stag party down the road, and they came over because they heard whispers and rumors about what was happening to us that weekend, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna run in and we're gonna take care of it." When they saw the look on our faces and they heard me say absolutely nobody's going into that house, they decided not to go in. I got in my car and was completely silent and white-knuckled my grip on the steering wheel until the tree line broke about an hour later and I was getting closer to home. I burst into tears and started sobbing because up until that point, I had never faced anything that dark or malevolent in my life. A few of us called each other after to process what had happened. It was wild.
That pause at the end, it was just like reflecting. Honey, what? I what made me when I was thinking, oh, first off, anybody when she first showed where she was sleeping at, did anybody see two couches? Cause I first saw two couches, but it could have been me. I just woke up from a nap and I'm just like, I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired still, a little tired. So it could have been me. But yeah, friend, that was God. God was like, okay, honey, I'm gonna need you to fight some demons today. So go back, get your equipment, get what you need, stay prayed up. We're gonna pray up, and then we were gonna go use a real one. Cause I would have told my friends, okay, it's time to go. I understand we didn't pay for this, but we gotta go. This energy is not it. We can go to another one, like it's not that serious. Our safety, our well-being is more important than some money, honey. I would have been gone. Like, friends, we gotta go. And if they wouldn't go with me, I don't know if I would have stayed. I don't know. They would have had to convince the mess out of me. The fact that they were just waiting on her like, bitch, you feel that? Do you feel what we've been feeling? Just wait for you to get at me. Like, you just set me up, honey. Nope. No. I'm not going to. Nope. Stop it. When I feel uneasy somewhere, I'm not going to be there for long. Not. When she was describing what it was, it reminded me of It. Y'all remember the movie It? And the original movie, when they went down and to see what it was a spider and everything. And like, everybody was like, it was an alien from another planet or whatever. Like, all that behind that, whatever I was saying it was, but what we saw was a spider. It made me think of that. It was just like, you know, like what you saying. She talk about, oh, it wasn't a D word. We're not trying to figure out what it was. And that person said a creepy old man. Y'all know what I be saying about old men. They creepy. Especially the ghost ones. Like, no, I'm glad they made it out there safe. Because, honey, the bride was protected. She was like, I've been on my spiritual journey. I don't know what to say about y'all, but I'm enjoying myself. Look at this beautiful house. Hottie. That was a really gorgeous house, though. That one room, I did feel a little uneasy with that. I think it was a vase. It could have been an urn. Whatever that was on the ground, that room felt a little uneasy. And the attic, it was just like, So, yeah, the house is beautiful. The stuff they went through was wild, honey. And be careful with these Airbnbs, especially in the woods and the forests. And miles away from civilization. Stay prayed up. Have your stuff you need to stay protected.
I completely forgot to mention this, but yes, I did use the cleansing tools the first night. Not a whole lot happened. But if anything, I might have just pissed it off. I knew going into it that I wasn't going to be removing or clearing anything. That was never my intention. And I knew that that wouldn't be permissible, if that makes sense. I just had to try and keep it over here until we were done with the space for that weekend. But the second night after I cleared with smoke, I came downstairs from the loft area, and one of my friends was like, are you okay? You look like you're gonna pass out. I was covered in sweat. My heart was pounding. I was drenched. I don't know if it was from running higher healing frequencies or just kind of going toe to toe with an energetic force that was just so different from me. And it was an Airbnb. This is my honest to God real-time reaction to that. I am covered in goosebumps. That house, I would not go back. Like, there's no amount of money that could make me go back and stay there. And you said in a previous comment that there were like 50 of you. There's no amount of people that would make you feel safe in that house. I cannot believe the crawl space door opened for you guys too. I'm speechless. To the people who have sent me messages or commented, where's that house? Like, I want to go, I want to stay there. Like, do not stay there. You don't even have to be a sensitive or an intuitive to have your health affected by this thing. It's not a dead person, it's not a demon, but it is not human and it's not safe.
Nope. Don't let people, don't even give out the address, honey. Like, if all these people experience the same thing and wrote it down, reaching out, like all these people having the same experience. Why would you want to go there? No, I don't want to go there. Messing with your health, honey? Nah, all the people in that house and everybody still not feeling good, not feeling safe. Nope, not getting got, not going there. That's cute. You can have that. You could have that.
So that video that you guys just saw is from our baby monitor. Our daughter is sleeping in her crib and you see the door open by itself. This was probably one of the first scary experiences that we had. But to kind of go more in detail, at the time, this happened a couple of years ago. Our daughter was like 1, but we were sleep training her and we would put her to sleep and then lay her down in her crib, and she was doing really good, like sleeping through the night. And something that we did specifically is that when we laid her down, we would make sure to close the door to her room because it got a little chilly sometimes, but the heat would circulate in her room if the door was closed. So every night we would close the door and we would just go to bed. But when we would wake up, the door to her room was open. And so my wife and I would kind of argue here and there about like, oh, you forgot to close the door or whatever, or like, oh, did you open the door to go check on her like early this morning before I woke up, whatever it may be. And so it got to this point where we got in this heated argument and I wanted to prove my wife wrong. So I wanted to like basically like catch her on camera that she was the one who was like not closing the door properly or whatever it may be. So I moved the baby cam to ensure that I could see like the crib and the door. And so that night when we went to sleep after I'd moved the baby cam, my wife wakes up in the middle of the night and she's like, I just heard the door open. And I was like, what? She's like, I just heard the door open. It clicked. And like, you can hear it in her voice that like something wasn't right. And she was like, somebody is in her room. You need to go check. And I literally ran to the room. I opened our door and lo and behold, the door to our daughter's nursery is open, wide open. So I jumped to our baby cam to see if we can catch it on camera, and that is what I caught on camera. I don't know anything that could explain what happened in that little clip, but if you listen to it, is that my mom came over, she walks through the door and she's just like, I don't like this. And I was like, what? She's like, I don't like how it feels in here. There's something really dark here. She walked through all of the rooms and she was like, I don't know how to explain it, but there's something really dark here. But when she walked into our daughter's room, she was like, I don't feel that darkness in here. And I was like, Mom, what the hell are you talking about? That's where the freaking door opened up by itself. And she was like, want to know what's weird? She's like, I feel grandma. I feel grandma's presence here. Like she's here to try and shield your daughter from whatever this dark thing is trying to do. And she saw in person. So she took me, my wife, and our baby over to the cemetery. We sat next to our grandparents' like tombstones, and my grandma was talking to them, like whispering in Tongan. And I don't speak fluent Tongan, but I asked my mom, like, hey, why are you talking to them in Tongan? Like, why aren't you talking in English? And she said this, and it creeped me out, but she said, well, because other spirits are listening as well. And we don't know if they're all good spirits. And I know not all of them speak English. So she decided to speak to my grandparents in Tongan so that only they were the ones at the cemetery who could understand her. And things that happened after this kind of started to level up, and I'll probably do another video about the crazy things that happened, but this was just the first part.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking when he was like the door open to the nursery. I was just like, I feel like it's one of his ancestors just protecting the baby, because like I don't know, so you hear stories that they be trying to get the babies, the innocents. So I really think, yeah, what his mom was saying, yeah, that's your grandma, that's grandma. She's just, protecting everybody, protecting the baby, especially from whatever's going on. I would like to know, when did that start happening? Like, it just, like, from what he said, it seemed like it just started that night, or whenever the door started to open. Once they realized the door was opening is when the energy was present, it seems like. But I would like to know, were they nosing stuff before then, like before the baby was born, or did it start when the baby was born? Because I think he was saying the baby was like 1 year old or something. Maybe But yeah, I would like to know more about that. Like, wait, what was going on? And I love that your mom was just so connected. It was just like, no, I know how to handle this. It came and felt it and was just like, hold on a second, and gave y'all some insight, because that is wild. The craziest thing that happened to me the other day, I thought it was crazy beautiful, honestly. I mowed my grandmama's yard. She has like a maybe over an acre and a half, acre or 2 acres. I mow her yard every other weekend, especially during the summer. But last week, I mowed her grass on Saturday because we had a whole bunch of rain. Yeah, I know I went on my cruise. And I tried to mow the grass before the cruise, but it seems like the week of the cruise, I mowed the grass. Came back from my cruise, y'all know I got sick, so I couldn't mow the grass again. But before, like the day before I left the cruise, it was like the grass had grown because it had rained. I mean, we're in North Carolina, like it rains. It rains almost every day here. Like it rains so much, so the grass was high. So this occasion, Saturday, when I mowed the grass, it had been like 3 weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, because I was sick for a little second. I was mowing the grass, and my grandfather is buried on the property. So I was mowing the grass around his grave, and I was trying to and the whole time I was mowing, I was like, Grandpa, I'm so sorry. I'm loud. I got this lawnmower. I am disrupting you. Like, I am disturbing you. Like, I'm so sorry. And every time I mow the grass around his grave, I think about him. I think about all the good times and good moments. And I'm just like, I always usually think about, yo, what would have been different? Like, my life would have been so much better if he was still here, because that was my ride or die right there. Always in my corner, honey. Like, I can't do no wrong. So I was just thinking about that. And like, I was mowing and I was going past his grave. And then this butterfly comes. This beautiful butterfly just comes and sits right in front of the lawnmower. And starts to get closer and coming towards me and just all around me, just would not go anywhere else. And I was just like, okay, Grandpa, I see you. And then there's other butterflies. And if you know me, I don't really like butterflies. Ever since that SpongeBob episode, y'all remember that SpongeBob? So I was just like, okay, Grandpa, you are these butterflies. Like, your presence is felt. And I wasn't nervous or scared because I don't like butterflies. But I was just like, okay, this is beautiful. It was like in that moment, I saw the beauty of butterflies. Like, okay, you see butterflies, they're pretty. But in that moment, I felt the presence and it felt beautiful. I said all that to say there's a difference. You can feel the difference, the presence when it's your ancestors, people who love you. You can feel that. And I feel like his mom was feeling it, like, nah. And another thing, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but I can smell. Like, my nose is essential. Like, bruh, I could literally walk in a room and smell. I feel like I could smell that spirit. It feels like, because I can go in the room and smell my ancestors and be like, like, dang. I don't know if it's like, oh, a memory, or maybe like they're there. I feel like it's maybe they're there, because it'd be like, I smell them and it makes me remember them. It's just like, I wonder if they're here right now, because you can smell their fragrance that they had in this life. I just love it. I love it. My nose is just a beautiful thing. Love it. Subscribe.